Every year, millions of wild boars wreak havoc on crops and threaten the ecosystems across America's vast plains. Instead of silently stalking through the woods like traditional hunting, my team has taken to the skies, hunting boars by helicopter. From above, we not only spot and approach targets quickly, but embark on a challenging journey, a thrilling adventure that breaks all the boundaries of conventional hunting. This is how we turn wild boar hunting into a battle of wits and skill, not just a chase after prey. Around 4 p.m., we took off under the blazing sun. The helicopter roared like a beast, soaring straight ahead. From the sky, everything was clear. No cover, no hiding spots. The roar of engines sent the wild boars into a panic, charging to escape. The pilot dropped altitude, the target perfectly framed at an ideal range. My team and I squeezed the triggers in unison. Bullets rained down like thunder. The wild boar fell on the dry, grassy plains. A clean victory to kick off a smooth and successful hunt. The helicopter kept circling, hunting for the prey below. The moment it tilted in midair, I had to summon every ounce of calm to line up the perfect shot. Finger squeezed the trigger, and the bullet flew through the sky, striking dead on the fleeing beast. But there were still shadows slipping away. I signaled the pilot to give chase, determined not to let a single one escape our sight. Aiming from above is the ultimate challenge of marksmanship, where every factor like vibration, wind, and speed works against you. Only true sharpshooters have the guts to turn chaos into absolute precision. Tracking every move of the target, I adjusted my stance to unleash the perfect shot. The heavy beast fell, a testament to skill honed through countless encounters on the razor's edge between failure and victory. Suddenly, the neighboring forest shook as a massive herd of wild boars poured in. Without hesitation, we charged into the eye of the storm, seizing every moment to ignite a fierce battle. These boars weren't easy to break. They scattered everywhere, constantly changing direction, making shots much tougher. But my pilot buddy and I had been through this countless times. With seamless teamwork, we tracked their movements and unleashed precise shots. In a matter of seconds, many were down, ending their destructive rampage. The helicopter continued sweeping the area a few hundred meters away, ready for the next hunt. We skimmed just above the treetops, eyes sharp on every bush. The wild boars were in full panic, scattering wildly, no longer moving as a herd. Determined not to give them a chance to escape, I squeezed the trigger with conviction. Each shot rang out like an uncompromising declaration of war. Before long, many had fallen, bringing the intense chase to an end. The wild boars scattered in all directions, like waves searching for a way to escape. We tracked their paths closely, mobilizing every resource to give chase. Everyone pushed hard, determined to wipe out these relentless destroyers. Because we knew this was more than just a hunt. It was a statement of total control between the sky and the ground. Just days ago, a horde of wild boars swept through California's fields, leaving devastation in their wake and injuring a farmer. Thomas's hunting team was urgently dispatched to the area. Armed with top-notch gear and a pack of skilled hunting dogs, they charged straight for the beast's hideout. The tracks scarring the fields were undeniable proof of the destructive power of these monsters. Thomas knew this hunt would be a dangerous battle, but nothing could halt his advance. Can the team stop this disaster in its tracks? Follow along to witness the heart-pounding clashes unfold. Following the faint tracks, Thomas moved silently. He settled into his ambush spot, patiently waiting for his target to appear. About 15 minutes later, a dark shape slowly and silently emerged from the thick bushes. Seizing his chance, Thomas raised his rifle and fired instantly. The wounded animal thrashed and tried to escape, but a second shot completely stopped its desperate run. first trophy of the day was secured with a perfectly executed series of shots. Their celebration was short-lived. The GPS blared with a new signal: more prey. They rushed to the location, and a small team fanned out to set a tight perimeter. And just like that, a herd of wild boars appeared in their sights. A continuous volley of shots rang out, relentlessly pursuing them as they ran. When the echoes faded, the hillside was littered with the scattered bodies of the fallen. A few hundred meters from Thomas, Jay was in the perfect ambush position, cutting off a wild boar as it snaked through the thick bushes, desperate to escape. The moment was perfect. Jay instantly pulled the trigger. The decisive crack of the rifle and the perfect shot found its mark. The beast had no chance. It collapsed motionless onto the ground. It was a precise shot, ending a threat and protecting the land once more. Before he could even catch his breath, the frantic barking of dogs in a nearby thicket immediately drew Thomas's attention. He moved toward the sound without a second thought. As he pushed through the dense trees, he kept his eyes peeled, ready for anything. Oh my God! A massive wild boar burst from the bushes, charging straight at him. Thanks to his quick instincts and years of experience, a single, precise shot saved him from the beast's sudden attack. This isn't just a hunt, it's a life or death battle. You have to be prepared for every possible situation. The hunt wasn't over yet, and the sun grew more intense. After moving for a while, Thomas paused, his eyes scanning every blade of grass. Before long, a shape lurking behind the leaves slowly came into view. With nothing left to hide it, a sharp shot rang out. A clean hit that left the beast with no chance to escape. The sun was beginning to set, and the team rushed to finish the hunt before darkness fell over the hillside. Meanwhile, Jay remained patient in his position, waiting for a target to appear. His long wait paid off. A beast came into his sights. He fired several quick shots, but they weren't enough to take the animal down completely. Wounded, it managed to drag itself into the thick bushes across from him. Jay quickly tracked it down and secured his trophy, completely eliminating the threat once and for all.
Wild boars carry razor-sharp tusks and possess enough strength to topple anything in their path. They are not only a threat to those who venture into the forests, but also a nightmare for every harvest season in Queensland, Australia, turning the hard work of farmers into nothing but dust. Join us as we embark on this journey, where you will witness heart-pounding moments firsthand today. At the break of dawn, after a strategic discussion, we made our way into the sugarcane fields, fully aware that the cunning wild boars would be hiding, waiting for the perfect moment to charge out unexpectedly. The atmosphere suddenly quieted on the red dirt road, setting the stage for the dramatic battle that was about to unfold. With a firm grip on my rifle, my eyes locked onto the patch of dry grass, knowing that it would be the doorway they'd use to make their appearance. And as soon as they revealed themselves, my finger instinctively squeezed the trigger without hesitation, sending a few shadows straight to the ground, giving them no time to react. A quick, decisive shot. What do you think of this lightning-fast move, my comrades? Not far from there, James was tracking the tracks left by the prey, advancing into the sugarcane fields on this side. The thick, overgrown terrain was the perfect hideout for wild boars to ambush. The moment he spotted a shadowy figure up ahead, he seized the opportunity and fired. Despite his quick reaction, the boars were as swift as lightning, managing to escape deep into the fields. Moves like these are sometimes just a warning shot to protect oneself, but it's still a shame to miss such an opportunity. The sun was at its peak, turning the sugarcane field into a stifling blaze. Using the relentless barking of the dogs ahead as my compass, I used the butt of my rifle to clear a narrow path through the sea of trees. And there it was, the destructive wild boar. I responded to the dog's hard bark with a decisive shot. It's truly amazing to have such loyal and in-sync companions by your side. Although we had some successful moves on the field that morning, under the scorching sun and the wild boar's crafty evasions, we knew we needed to change our strategy to capture these destructive beasts. By taking control of the skies from a helicopter, every hiding spot they sought refuge would be exposed, and the wild boar hunt from above was officially on. Red alert from the skies. 3 wild boars were charging straight for the field. Thomas signaled the pilot to expertly lower the helicopter. The roar of the engine blended with the sharp crack of gunfire. Thomas's decisive shots pinned all 3 marauders to the ground before they could even reach the field. Mission accomplished. How many points do you give for this lightning-fast all-kill? Meanwhile, Kevin was facing off against 3 massive wild boars in the green meadow on his side. Not only were they strong, but they were incredibly agile as well. With them charging at full speed, hitting each one with precise shots will be nearly impossible for an amateur. To aim and fire while the target is sprinting like that isn't luck. It's the result of relentless training from marksmen. The afternoon sun stretched across the field, providing the perfect visibility, but also turning the pursuit into a brutal test of hunting skill. Each boar was a moving target, demanding split-second judgment. We pushed forward, locking our sights, and taking them down with cold, decisive shots. A few from the herd collapsed, and the results of today's hunt stood as proof of our efforts to protect the crops, safeguard the livelihood, and preserve the peace of this land. Germany's fields are struggling against the ferocious devastation caused by wild boars. They tear through furrows of soil, destroying crops and leaving millions of dollars in damages. Hunters are ready to step into the battle against these destructive invaders. Each cold, calculated shot and every heart-pounding moment of confrontation feels like a real battlefield, keeping you glued to the screen. Will the hunters have the grit to take down these marauders? Watch until the end to pick out the most thrilling moment. Today's journey began with a tightly coordinated ambush, leaving no chance for any wild boar to escape. In the fields of Brandenburg, Kevin's team arrived early, spreading out to cover all directions. Not long after, at the edge of the vegetable field, a wild boar suddenly charged out, cutting across Nick's position. Without hesitation, Nick pulled the trigger. A burst of gunfire rang out decisively, taking down the prey before it could slip away. A swift and precise move, truly befitting the team's top shooter, striking fear into the wild boars. The sun was high in the sky, and Kevin's team swiftly moved to the neighboring field. The entire team quickly took their pre-assigned ambush positions. Just 10 minutes later, in the eastern direction, Jay spotted a group of wild boars beginning to ravage the area. He immediately locked onto the largest, fattest boar in the group. A decisive gunshot rang out, and the target collapsed on the spot. But before Jay could reload for another shot, the remaining boars managed to slip into nearby bushes, disappearing in an instant. As soon as the group of boars disappeared, Jay immediately reported their direction of movement over the radio. Using tracking signals, the team quickly narrowed down the suspicious area. At that very moment, near Kevin's ambush position, a wild boar burst out of the bushes, frantically trying to escape. With a single, clean, and precise shot, the massive beast was brought down. Another target eliminated, another victory notched. The field was officially restored to peace, at least for today. At the same moment, in the fields of Lower Saxony, another hunting team was stealthily tracking the destructive pests concealed within the towering grass. James held his post at the edge of a thick patch of grass, right next to the cornfield. Suddenly, a wild boar emerged, slinking toward the corn rows, ready to unleash destruction. Seizing the moment as it stepped out from the grass cover, James instantly pulled the trigger. A single, accurate shot rang out, eliminating the threat. Had he hesitated for even a split second, the cornfield might have been ravaged by the beast's claws. A few minutes later, the sudden barking of hunting dogs echoed from the trail, a clear signal that a target had appeared. James and his team immediately rushed forward, quickly pinpointing the source of the sound. They swiftly took their positions, eyes locked on the bushes ahead. Then, As a dark shadow emerged, gunfire rang out decisively. The wild boar collapsed onto the cold ground, unable to take another step. Another disaster was stopped in its tracks before it could wreak havoc on this field.
Hunting wild boars to protect livestock, the never-ending battle. The ferocious beasts, armed with razor-sharp tusks, are ravaging crops, destroying farmland, and causing millions of dollars in losses for farmers. They fearlessly invade fields, lurk in dense forests, and spread terror across the region. Intense battles are unfolding to reclaim the land and protect the lives of the people. Can the hunters take down these savage creatures? Stay tuned for the thrilling moments just ahead. John's team, a group of fearless marksmen, kicked off today's hunt to restore peace to the fields. At 6 a.m., they piled into their familiar truck, heading straight for the post-harvest fields. Upon arrival, the team swiftly moved to their pre-assigned positions. Ten quiet minutes passed when a dark shadow emerged, leisurely foraging as if it owned the territory. But nothing escaped Jay's binoculars. He adjusted his stance, chose the perfect angle, and pulled the trigger. A rapid burst of gunfire echoed, and the beast collapsed before it could flee. Before they could track further, a signal erupted from the towering reeds, betraying the presence of the beast. John and his team rushed forward. Moments later, the hound's frantic barking echoed from the reeds right in front of John. He focused intently, and then the target came into his sights. A sharp gunshot rang out, dropping the beast with a single precise shot. A swift, clean, and accurate finish. At the same moment, on the eastern edge of the field, a wild boar leisurely crossed the blockade point of one of the team's marksmen, completely unaware of the ambush. As the beast drew closer, he seized the moment, took aim, and pulled the trigger. The bullet struck true, piercing its body, and the boar collapsed instantly. Another threat was eliminated, restoring peace to the field. An exhilarating ambush is underway in the dense jungle, where another team had set up their position early. Nestled in the lush undergrowth, Kevin was assigned the crucial role of blocking, observing the silhouette of their prey. 5 minutes later, gunfire erupted continuously from his teammates' direction. A wild boar shot past, weaving through the volley of bullets, desperately trying to escape. Kevin swiftly locked onto the target, tracking the boar's movements. Rapid gunshots echoed, and the animal collapsed under the hand of the professional hunter. Just a moment's hesitation, and it could have vanished into the thicket. In another corner of the forest, a marksman had sighted his target. Just as the beast was lumbering through a clearing between the bushes, he seized the opportunity and immediately opened fire. A single shot brought the animal down in an instant. From other positions, gunfire erupted simultaneously, with each corner of the forest marking another victory for the team. The hunt had protected the villagers from their lingering nightmare, promptly preventing further devastation by the monstrous creature.
The wild boar population in California is growing out of control. They destroy the land, ruin crops, and even pose a threat to farmers. The area of destruction keeps expanding. At this moment, Hunters must take action to restore balance to the lives of the farmers here. So how will this hunt begin? And is there any danger awaiting the hunters? Wild boars are not easy prey. They can run up to 40 miles per hour, are stubborn, intelligent, and extremely alert. When cornered, they don't just flee, they can turn around and attack. For hunters, even a single moment of hesitation can come at the cost of blood. After we split up to search for signs of the prey, a sudden burst of movement came from the bushes. A whole herd of wild boars charged out, running right across my path. Without thinking, I raised my gun, took a quick aim, and pulled the trigger. One of the boars in the herd dropped instantly. The others, however, dashed away at full speed, escaping the load. I moved to another position, and while tracking signs of the prey, I suddenly heard a rustling sound nearby. I immediately raised my gun and took careful aim. At another location, I heard the hunting dogs barking loudly. While scanning the surroundings, I spotted a dark figure moving in the bushes not far from me. I raised my gun and waited for the right moment. It was charging closer. I pulled the trigger. The first shot missed. It came even nearer. The second shot hit. The boar collapsed, landing just a few meters away from me. If I hadn't stayed calm at that moment, I might have paid a heavy price. It was dangerously close. Waiting in position, I saw a large boar weaving between the trees, trying to escape. Boom! The gunshot rang out. The bullet struck the wild boar's body. In another spot, Jake was already waiting at the trail exit. He stood with his rifle in hand, ready, just waiting for the prey to appear. And then a wild boar came charging forward, but the moment it spotted him, it changed direction to flee. Jake quickly pulled the trigger, giving it no chance to escape. He walked over to check, then signaled the others. 6. Night was falling. Hearing the loud barking of the hunting dogs, I moved closer. Suddenly, a wild boar burst out from the grass, charging straight at me. I stepped back while raising my rifle, pulling the trigger just as it lunged. The gunshot echoed, followed by its roar, and it collapsed on the spot. Had I been just 1 second slower, I might not be here to tell the story.